great. But I kind of think that the Fedora people, whom I find to be some of the people who are encouraging the flames against Ubuntu sometimes, at least certain people in Fedora, I think they kind of need to try and quiet things down. I'm on Canonical side when it comes to these flames, and I basically try not to write about these issues because I think it's a waste of time and it's just not the right thing to pay attention to. One thing that's really nice that happens with Ubuntu right now is that they sign lots of partnership with companies, some open source, actually some proprietary. And, then again, Red Hat is doing the same type of thing, and all the companies that do Linux, almost just about all of the large ones do the same thing. Now, one of the very nice pieces of news, I think that's important, is that System 76, one of the I can only think of two companies that do very well selling desktop Linux in the United States, and that's one of them. And they expand to the UK now, which means that they did sufficiently well in the US to expand to a different country now. I think that's pretty good news, but not many people talk about that. I found 2 articles about it. I think we'll have this in show notes at some stage. But if you look at the press releases, if you look at the press center or a certain place where you get the latest news about Canonical, you'll mostly find them signing deals now around server more than around the desktop.
Yeah, I think on the open respect thing, I think one of the reasons why people are getting a bit annoyed is it's yet another Canonical story. It's yet another Ubuntu story, and it's a bit of a almost like sour grapes that it's Ubuntu getting the press again. And the thing is, it's not. I mean, Jono is, as much as Jono is the community manager, people are not their job. They are individuals outside of that. And yes, he blogs about that, and he blogs about his own stuff, and he blogs about his music, and there's separation there, but it's getting attributed to Canonical, and he's said over and over and over again that it's not Canonical, it's him.
And like I say, I think if it had been Canonical, I think there would have been far less obvious than ask Jono to produce it, because it'd be the first thing everybody would say if there was if there was a malicious intent behind it or an intent. It would be the first thing everybody said if Jono produced it. So I agree with you completely. And I mean, it's just like his Severed Fifth project. It's his own project. It's what he enjoys doing.
He likes to build sites. People should know when he has an idea. I'm not sure about the number, but I imagine he probably built about 10 sites over the years. He likes to maintain them, and he's very good with graphics and all that sort of stuff. So when he put the site up, it doesn't mean it has to be a campaign. It's just he's the type of person who builds sites and put things around. And I think it's quite his intention was to try and centralize in the domain a certain place to make a certain message available. I probably should ask Jonah how many sites he has and how, but I know that the history says that he builds all kinds of sites for all sorts of reasons, for personal reasons, not for commercial reasons.
I can quite imagine that he's sitting at home in IRC, and he's been sitting thinking about this, and he said, you know what, just while we're discussing this, I'll just go and register this domain name, and I'll just start working on, I suppose it's like a wiki, just put out up a first version, a first draft, put something up there and then start drawing people in, and it's kind of, because he's not done it in a way that other people approve of, it's backfired on him and he's got the backlash. But I mean, we've seen it on Identica, I've seen it on IRC. People will find an excuse to flame, and that's just one of many that people use to flame. But,
well, sorry, Roy, did you have something else to add?
I was just probably thinking we should talk about Debian a little bit, because I think one of the projects which is being obscured by Canonical these days on the server side as well as on the desktop is the origins of Ubuntu, and that's Debian. And they have quite a bit of nice news. They have 6.0 coming out pretty soon. I'm not sure about the dates, but probably depends on how quickly they fix the bugs. And it's one of the distributions that has a very, very high quality control, and they will not release anything because the date is coming soon. It's not like Ubuntu, so they have to make sure they have no issues and the upgrade to work smoothly and everything else. I think Gordon is already running is it a beta version or it's...
Well, I'm running Squeeze. I always get confused with the Debian names, and I was going to say, well, I must have got it, ahead of time, copyright style. I know it's Linux. I'm just making a joke. But yeah, I've been running Squeeze for a little while on my desktop. That's my regular desktop. It's also my default on my netbook. I mean, I multi-boot on my netbook. But if I don't touch anything, it goes straight into Squeeze in both cases, running XFCE.
How do you think it compares to Ubuntu, if you've or Mint, for example?
It's lighter. That's the main reason why I run it on my desktop. It's an old desktop I have, and the Ubuntu base is a bit on the heavy side, in all honesty, for the amount of RAM that I have. So I can get XFCE running much lighter. I idle at around about 85 meg, which is nice and light for me on my desktop. I couldn't get anywhere close to that with Ubuntu or with Mint, even XFCE. They were both heavier. So that's mainly because it's lighter. That's why I use it. The other part of Ubuntu comparisons is I like to customize my desktop. I like to customize the login screen and all of that. And Ubuntu, I don't know if it's like GDM3 or something, and Grub2, and these kind of choices, they're difficult to customize. So,
is Grub2 out yet? I think it's 1.9 something. I'm just trying to make sure is Grub2 out? The proper 2.0?
I don't know. As far as I'm aware, it's Grub2 that Ubuntu and Mint use.
I thought it was out. I thought Grub2 was out.
Alright, I probably missed the announcement myself. I'm sorry. But one thing I should say about Debian, I think that starting today they have this what's called Debian Women IRC training sessions, it's called. And it's interesting because if you look back to 2008 or 2009, they had this controversy. I think I'm trying to get the details accurately here. I think the Planet Debian had a certain people or a certain person post some things which can be kind of insulting to the very few women who are involved as developers, as Debian developers or DD. And I think one of them left at some stage. So then began this whole discussion about Debian and how they treat women, and recently there was this thing with Ubuntu bragging about having more than 5% among the developers or among the core people who are female. So I think in KDE it's something like 2%, and people always talk about these ratios. It's nice to see anyway Debian is encouraging encouraging the recruitment of females as well to the team, and that's similar also to what the FSF was doing, especially after there were all these accusations of the FSF being hostile towards women or Stallman, and basically kind of more of a PR campaign against them than I think anything substantial, because they've always had lots of interns and staff and people who are female, and I think Deborah is one of them. So yeah, that's about Debian. Do you know the mobile versions of Debian is actually being used a lot more than people realize, especially because of mobile devices. And Debian is very good at building the whole system for, is it 17 or 18 architectures? I haven't been keeping track for a few years, but does any of you know how many?
No, I
One
wouldn't
of the
know.
major one is the ARM one. And Ubuntu is trying to get into the ARMS race. The ARMS is in the ARM processor or the architecture of RAM holdings.
That'll cost them an arm and a leg.
Actually, it's going pretty well. If you look at tablets, they're based on ARM because they need to have good battery life. And one of the platforms based on Debian was Memo from Nokia, which is now became Migo. And we have lots of news about that as well. And the major news is I'm just going to share some links with you now. The main news is the AMD actually joined the MIGO project, which is very interesting considering the fact it was an Intel and Nokia collaboration. And Intel and AMD probably people know about the